How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thine heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation, in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
He was not always fallen. He was created as a being of immense glory and beauty. This transformation mirrors that of Sauron, who was originally called Myron, or the Admirable. Just as the name Sauron now marks his fallen state as the Abhorred, Lucifer's descent earned him the title Ha-Satan, the Accuser. Both depictions, Sauron in Tolkien's world and Lucifer in the biblical prophecy, give us a grand picture of the oldest temptation known to man. Let us be like God. To desire the throne of God, the one who is good, loving, merciful, and the creator and sustainer of all life, is not merely ambition. It is the mark of a spirit already fallen into darkness. This is why so many great stories contain the same pattern. An arch-villain who does not simply want wealth or victory, but domination. He wants to rule. He wants to control. He wants the whole world bent beneath his will. In The Lord of the Rings, this darkness reaches its great crisis in the battle for the capital city of Gondor, Minas Tirith. Sauron moves swiftly, attacking with overwhelming force. His armies come against the city under the command of his terrifying servant, the Witch King of Angmar. If Minas Tirith falls, then the rest of Middle-earth will surely follow. Hope will be crushed, freedom will be broken, and darkness will spread across the land.
The battle of Pelennor, and any battle, is the side that you stand on is already decided way before you're standing on that field. And so it's not a question of what side are you on. The question is, what led you to where you're standing on the fields of Pelennor? In Book 3 of The Lord of the Rings, as it comes towards the end, we have Rohan racing across the fields towards Gondor. We have Gandalf and Pippin standing on the balcony of Minas Tirith, looking out towards Osgiliath, knowing that the enemy is coming. Aragorn's already left. He's gone to the way that is shut under the mountain. And we have Frodo and Sam climbing up into the Morgul Vale through the tunnel and into the Darklands, Mordor. And it becomes, to me, the story starts to open up here in so many different ways. And it's at this point I start to realise how much it reflects the world that we live in. It's got everything. It's got the politics, it's got the wars, it's got the intrigue, it's got the everyday life still, that still happens in all of those things. It was like the world was superimposed on to the story of the Lord of the Rings. Now, we have to be careful about this, as I've said before. It is a story, but it's a very good story. It's written by a man of faith who knew what he was writing. And my question to you is that we enter into that story we so much individually in a symbolic way, even in this world. And what are you? Whereabouts are you on that battlefield, on the fields of Pelennor? Where are you? That's my question today. You know, are you one of the riders of Rohan? Are you standing on the walls of Minas Tirith? Are you down at the river of Anduin, fighting the orcs that are trying to get onto the fields of Pelennor? Or are you one of the two hobbits climbing up into the Morgul Vale to enter the Darklands? I've intentionally described it like that because I want to draw you into the story. Because many people who read The Lord of the Rings, you will immediately put yourself on the side of good. You're one of those characters. You relate to those characters. But I want to swing it into reality. The battle of Pelennor, and any battle, is the side that you stand on is already decided way before you're standing on that field. And so it's not a question of what side are you on. The question is, what led you to where you're standing on the fields of Pelennor? What drove your desires? What drove your intention? Whatever faith you have, or not having any faith, what drove you to where you're standing on the fields of Pelennor? And I put it to you that the ones who are standing on the evil side thought they were standing on the winning side because of their thoughts and desires that were shaped outside. It was influenced. And that's what I want to talk about today. Sauron was an enemy that, for the most part, through the story of The Lord of the Rings, he hid in the shadows. And we have a very real enemy today. And if we don't identify this enemy, you have a very big chance of being influenced in the wrong way, even though you think it's the right way. Just like Sauron, they thought they was on the winning side. And those deceived, always think they're on the winning side. They cannot see where they're at. So I want to talk today of the darkness, the evil influence that was across Middle-earth, and his weapons, mainly his ways of how he influences Middle-earth. So today we're going to look at the ring, the Palantírs, or the Palantiri, the Witch King, and all through those, there's a darkness that starts very small and gets to the fruition of the fields of Pelennor. And how does this happen? In the Bible, we have a hidden enemy that we know. His name was originally Lucifer, which means light bearer. He's also diabolical. Is devilish, where we get the word orcish from, devilish. And he attacks mainly in two ways, just like Sauron did. He attacks with deceit and then with power, physical attack. And in the Bible, we have two depictions of this with the fallen angel Lucifer, how he works. First of all, in the Garden of Eden, he comes as a deceptor. He comes as the serpent. When he needs to deceive, he comes as a serpent. He speaks kind words. He sows seeds of doubt, but subtly. He's trying to woo you in and into the darkness. But once he's overcome an area using deception, using the serpent, the character of a serpent, which comes as an angel of light, he then becomes the dragon. And the dragon destroys. And we have a good example of that in The Hobbit, especially the film The Hobbit. He comes and he destroys, and he loves to be called the dragon. That's his end result. It's his, when he is revealed, he is a dragon. So we have these weapons. We have the ring, the Palantirs, and we have the Witch King. And we're going to look at these now. And how these influence. And I'm not going to use allegory because, as Tolkien said, he wasn't someone who, he was completely against allegory. He'd rather use what I think is better, his themes. He touches on the good things that we see in the world. He touches on his faith, Christianity. He touches on the evil and out, but he doesn't name it as such. Albeit, Sauron is a very good, mirrors very well Lucifer in the story of Tolkien, of Middle-earth. So we're going to look at the ring and how this influences. And it's not so much, I'm not going to use allegory because I don't think you can pinpoint, literally say that the ring represents this in the Bible. You can't say it. Many people have used it in the past to say it was this, or it was, it was the nuclear warhead at that time. Many accounts of that on YouTube. But no, I can see a theme. The closest theme I can get to is how we started this video, which is why I started it in that way. It's a representation of the darkness or the noun sin, the sin itself that attacks an individual mind. It's a representation of it, but you couldn't say it's that. But it's not just that. It represents the sin. You see, Sauron poured all his malice into it, all his envy and his will to dominate, as we hear in one of the accounts in the film. The similar thing in the Bible is the sin of pride. And pride is constantly looking down at others. It never looks up at someone greater than them. It looks down. And this is one of the reasons when the ring shows itself as a great weapon. It can be used. Why not use this weapon? And I think we have a great account, which I'm just going to quickly read from the Fellowship of the Ring. Because we see that when the ring is used by individuals, trying to use it, it overcomes them. And even those that are having to wear it, even Frodo having to wear it, it's a great burden. So is sin. On an individual, it can cause shame. It can drag you down. It's designed to do that. It was a poison that entered mankind through the serpent, the deceiver. Well, I want to read this account here. It's the Council of Elrond. It's if you have this version, it's on page 351 in the Fellowship of the Ring. I'm going to start from paragraph 2. It says this: the men of Gondor are valiant. This is Boromir speaking. The men of Gondor are valiant, and they will never submit, but they may be beaten down. Valor needs first strength, and then a weapon. Let the ring be your weapon. If it has such power as you say, take it and go forth to victory. You see, the ring was already working. Because the ring was in the Council of Elrond. It was already drawing on the pride of individuals within the council. we can see that in the films, depicted very well. But in the books, you get a slower way of this coming out, how it's affecting slowly the individuals, and how they're looking at the ring and everybody's eyeing it up when it's brought forth. You get this, but Elrond then replies to Boromir. It says, "Alas, no," said Elrond. "We cannot use the ruling ring. That we now know too well. It belongs to Sauron and was made by him alone, and is altogether evil. Its strength, Boromir, is too great for anyone to wield at will, save only those who have already a great power of their own. But for them it holds an even deadlier peril. The very desire of it corrupts the heart. Consider Saruman. If any of the wise should with this ring overthrow the Lord of Mordor, using his own arts, he would then set himself on Sauron's throne, and yet another Dark Lord would appear. And that is another reason why the ring should be destroyed. As long as it is in the world, it will be a danger even to the wise, for nothing is evil in the beginning. Even Sauron was not so. I fear to take the ring, to hide it. I will not take the ring, to wield it. Nor I, said Gandalf. And these two great wise men depicted in the story know this ring, how it can draw in and tempt, and what it would become. And what we see here is a great depiction of how you cannot use the weapons of darkness to defeat darkness. You can't use it. You can never fight fire with fire. You just create more fire. The devil uses this, what I call the devil of extremes. He uses it. And this ties in with the Palantirs today. What I see today. Well, let's take the Palantirs as an example that we know of in the accounts of the story. There's three there's two that we know of in the films, but there's three in the book, which when I read the books was shed light on a few things for me. One, we know Sauron has. One, Saruman has. Eventually, when he falls, Aragorn takes that one and looks into it himself. And one, Denethor has. Okay? And the Palantirs, or Palantiri, however you want to pronounce that, are not evil in themselves, but they will show you things that you're looking for. And if someone who's dark, powerful, as in Sauron, because the Palantirs talk to one another, so both Saruman and Denethor are basically opened up to Sauron when they look into their Palantirs. They can be drawn to talk to one another. And two things happen. With Saruman, Sauron showed him what he wanted to see. He appealed to his desires to rule. I'm reminded of the film The Hobbit. There's this great fight scene in The Hobbit, which is not, I can't remember it being in The Hobbit, the book, but they fight at in the where it is, where the necromancer is, where we eventually find out it's Sauron. And we've got Galadriel there, and Gandalf's been taken prisoner, and they defeat the nine, the Nazgul. They defeat them, and Sauron's banished into the east through Galadriel's power. But we hear this one thing. Saruman says, "Leave Sauron to me. I will take care of it." That it's a good depiction that you could already see that there was a pride in Saruman. And here, Sauron uses this pride in his desire to rule. It's this pride, this what we're talking about with the ring here, is drawing him to want to take Sauron's throne. Sauron knows this. He's very much aware of it. But he uses it to his advantage to overcome Saruman. He uses this desire to break him. what once was the greatest wizard of the White Council. We see the depiction of how Saruman slowly falls off into a broken man, still dangerous, but very broken, nowhere near in the seat that he should have been if he had held his morality and his will. Sauron shows him what he wanted to see. Denethor, who in the books is depicted as someone with a stronger will almost, is just as clever as the wizards, as Saruman and Gandalf. Not clever, but as when it comes to a strong will and to know, to see what's going on, he's depicted as a great leader. But he has a weakness. And he uses his Palantir to look towards Mordor to see what's going off. And this time, Sauron, instead of showing him what he wants to see, he shows him what he doesn't want to see. He shows him the mighty armies and the power of Mordor and what's coming up on Osgiliath, what is coming up against Gondor and Minas Tirith. He overthrows him with despair, and this slowly starts to build upon him. And we also see how the ring is working against his son Boromir. Overthrows Boromir, which again breaks the heart of Denethor. He sees hopelessness. You see how the ring's working to overthrow all the individuals that it can, and Sauron is seeking to overthrow through the Palantirs and his dark ways. But he shows him what he doesn't want to see. When the Palantiri, or Palantirs, however you want to say it, are used in a dark way, they never show you what you need to see. They never show you what you need to see. So if we take this into a real world today, remember what I said at the beginning, where are you standing on the field of Pelennor? What have you allowed to shape your heart? What have you allowed to shape your heart? Think on that. I would say today's modern day Palantir is the media. And you are shown on the media what they want you to see. What they want you to see. Sometimes they show you what you want to see. But they'll also show you what you don't want to see. But it's what they want you to see. Do you understand that? Because it can shift the mindset of communities and countries. And we have this happening very much so now, especially in my country. See, that is the devil of extremes. The devil doesn't show you a man coming from the east, whether good or bad, whether he's coming for good or bad. The devil doesn't show you a man like yourself. He shows you an enemy entering your country. He doesn't show you a man who's fleeing tyranny, because in some cases they are. He'll show you a man who's entering your country, taking your resources that your great-grandfathers fought for, and we're just letting them all in. Now, the Bible does say, do not let down your borders. It's wise to keep your borders controlled. Because it's good to do good things. It's good to help other countries, but when you just open everything up, it's overwhelming. I'm just showing you how the devil shows you, creates an enemy of the person trying to enter your country. It doesn't create another neighbor or somebody who wants help. It creates an enemy for you to see. And this can shift your influence, and I've seen it now. What you can actually get is, we've heard of the far right and the far left, and we have that in our country. We have a far right and a far left, and both can be as bad as each other. The Second World War, you take the Nazi Party and communism, both killed Jews and Christians. And today we can see in China how Muslims and Christians are persecuted because they don't follow the line of the party. You see, the devil wants to create confusion to then move in and become the savior. He's already got an idea of how he's going to do it, but he has to create confusion. Sauron creates confusion. He knows what he's going to do. All the time, there's a darkness moving across Middle-earth. We have the same. I speak to people, even of no faith, and they'll say to me, the world's dark. There's a strangeness. There's a lack of common sense. Just genuine caring for your neighbour. And the Bible says that in the end times, men will become lovers of themselves, not the neighbours. At the same time, with the Palantirs being used in the ring, the Dark Lord working from his tower. Notice it's a tower. It's risen, it's high above. We have the Witch King. And the Witch King is sent forth, creates, and when they fly over anyway, they create fear. And they almost detect the shadow. It amplifies the shadow that's moving across, because they are part of the shadow, you see. This interesting name, the Witch King of Angmar, that leads these armies. In the field of the armies, he creates a madness, because it's almost like the Pied Piper. You can see this today with the Palantirs and the media, the way it's being used. It's whipping up an hysteria. And we get these marches that are not just marches in a peaceful way. There's anger. You see, it's creating anger and lack of critical thinking and discernment of what's going on. Just a stepping back and taking control of yourself. That's lacking, because it's whipping up hysteria. And the Witch King does this with the armies. And it is actually a form of witchcraft, to alter the mind and the state of a group of people through sheer suggestion. Not even forcing, but suggestion. It's a form of deception, what the Bible calls witchcraft. But there's also another word in the Bible. That witchcraft itself, the word is pharmakia. Pharmakia. Where we get the word pharmacy. Now, used in this way, drugs and the wrong use of drugs, the infiltration of towns and villages and schools and societies with psychedelic drugs, mind-altering substances that are addictive, destroy communities. This is no doubt a weapon of the enemy. We know that the Witch King uses this in the stories. It is a special power. He creates fear and madness amongst the army under his control. But if you've ever been involved with it, drugs that enter a community just destroy a community. They create an addiction, and that's what we see. Addiction taken to its fullest is a lack of self-control. Very easily pliable, can be very easily used to twist them to do what you want, especially if they're addicted and you promise them the world, but give them death, basically. Through the media, through the darkness, as it enters and deception takes hold, as we can see in our country and other countries, eventually the aim is to take over critical thinking and discernment, no more so than in our universities and our schools. Do not think that the one described at the beginning of this video, Lucifer, is not at work trying to do this. While your enemy stays hidden and you don't identify him, you're wide open to him. Not just yourself, but your family and everyone you know. If you can influence a school in the wrong way of thinking, the society is being seeded to be overcome very early on. A great example, I shared the gospel on the street once, not too many years ago, which is the gospel is the word of God unto salvation. It's how we it's the crown of messages for the Christian that we share. And at the heart of the gospel message is love and peace. That's, if it's not being shared, if the message is not being shared in a peaceful, kind, and loving way, even if it sounds like the gospel, the spirit behind it is not the gospel. What I wanted to show was I was sharing the gospel in a loving way. And I said to the people on the street at the time, I says, look, why do we keep repeating? Why does society keep repeating the same problem? Why does it put its trust in a different political group? I was saying on one, we will vote this group in because we've been promised something, and then we'll vote this something and we've been promised something. And about 15 minutes before, I'd already been saying that, you know, the gospel message, even though it's preached in love, if the spirit of the world hates it, so much so that people will hate me and who have never met me. I'd already preached this 15 minutes before, and this guy turned on the scene who had not heard that bit. And I was just talking about this politics, how men cannot solve this problem. We need someone outside of the world to solve this problem, the coming king. And the vehemency, he hated it because he loved a certain political party, which I'm not going to mention. But he was saying, well, what are you going to do then? And he just went off. But I was completely happy to talk to him. But I couldn't reason with him. He had such a deep hatred for me, being a Christian. It was just a normal, everyday guy. It wasn't another religion that, and you know, I'm not decrying any other religions and not pointing the finger and having a go at anyone. But all I said was kind words. This man hated them because there is a spirit in the world that's against the coming king, that's against Jesus. You can test this. And the reason I'm telling you this is because to show you that this spirit here that was in the Lord of the Rings, how Sauron started to influence the world through darkness, is at work today, spiritually. Next time you're with your friends, no matter what setting, whether you're at home, barbecues, down at the pub, whatever you're doing, and you're always getting the discussions come up when everyone puts the world to rights, and sometimes it gets on conspiracy theories even. You know, they start talking about aliens, UFOs, the CIA, and all kinds of things. Next time them kind of conversations come up, just say to them, what do you think about Jesus? Just say, what do you think about Jesus? Say it within a group. Watch the reaction. Watch the reaction. See, Jesus is for good and for love and for eternal life. He wants you to live forever. He's made a way for us to live forever. That's the message of the gospel. The Lord has made a way for us to live forever. That's the message. That's the new kingdom. This is why the good things that you see in the Lord of the Rings that you fall in love with, that's what's in the new kingdom. Peace, joy, wonderful creation, everything created new. No more death or sorrow. No more pain. But why would you hate that? Why would people belittle that? Because the devil cannot enter that. Lucifer's not allowed to enter that kingdom because he's the one who destroyed the world in the first place through deception, bringing in death in the Garden of Eden. And he's not going to be entering there ever. He's not going to enter into that place. So he's got a deep hatred for mankind and the people of God. But don't just think he's got an hatred there. He hates and wants to destroy everybody. Sauron wanted to destroy all men. That is a pretty good description of the dragon, of Lucifer. If he can destroy all men, you can then turn around and call God a liar, because God has promised that this new kingdom will come about and men will live forever. What are you allowing to influence yourself today? Today I've spoken about the enemy's ways, what he does, the weapons that he uses. And now these are today, we have an influence that represents very similar, or pretty identical, even though they're not allegory at all, but pretty identical to what we have today, the Witch King. The name witch meaning drugs, pharmakia, a bit like a Pied Piper, just follow me, promising you everything, giving you nothing. The Palantiri has shown you what you want to see and shown you what you don't want to see, but never shown you what you need to see. Okay? The ring. You know, as it says at the beginning, let's just become like God and then we don't need God. That's the today's societies today. And we cannot fight fire with fire. You're just going to become like the devil himself. Again, it will destroy you. And working through all of this is an increasing darkness. First it comes as a serpent deception, but it ends with the dragon. And the dragon destroys physically, emotionally, and spiritually. That's his aim. That was Sauron's aim. But what's the coming king's aim? The next video I want to talk about what can we do to combat this? First of all, make sure that you're on the right sides of the fields of Pelennor. Don't think that you're just on the good side, because if you're allowing these things to influence you, there's a good chance you'll be standing with the orcs. If we're on the field of Pelennor, what weapons can we use today? And I want to go into more detail of Minas Tirith. Let me finish with these words. And I heard a great voice out of heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, and God himself shall be with them, and be their God. And God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. And he that sat upon the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said unto me, Write, for these words are true and faithful.